In 1957, Ghana had just gained independence from British colonial rule, becoming the first African country to do so. This marked a huge step for Africa and was celebrated all over the world. Ghana's Prime Minister Kwame Nkrumah and his government officials, including Finance Minister Gbedemah, were seen as leaders of a new African sovereignty. Ghana was a beacon of hope and a symbol of freedom, especially to black people across the world, including the United States. At the time, racial segregation was still a harsh reality in many parts of the United States, especially in the South. Even though the Supreme Court had ruled segregation unconstitutional, deep-seated discrimination still lingered, impacting African Americans and black visitors from other countries. In this tense atmosphere, an unfortunate incident involving Gbedemah, Ghana's finance minister, soon brought international attention and prompted President Dwight Eisenhower to step in personally. The story begins in October 1957, just months after Ghana's independence. Gbedemah was in the United States on an official visit to meet with American leaders and business people, hoping to build relationships and secure investment for his young country. As part of his journey, Gbedemah was passing through Wilmington, Delaware, on his way to a meeting. During a stopover, he decided to get a quick bite to eat at a popular roadside restaurant called Howard Johnson's. Little did he know that his choice would lead to a dramatic event. When Gbedemah and his secretary walked into the restaurant, they were told they couldn't be served because they were black. The restaurant staff, following local customs of segregation, refused to serve them. This was a shocking experience for Gbedemah. He had come as a dignitary, an official representative of a new nation, yet he was being humiliated and denied service simply because of his skin color. Gbedemah was angry and frustrated, but he knew he had to remain calm. Despite the offense, he used the incidents to make powerful points about the treatment of black people in America. He knew the United States was trying to strengthen its image as a champion of democracy and freedom, especially in the eyes of newly independent African nations. This incident, however, painted a very different picture of America. News of the event spread quickly, and the story soon reached the American press, capturing the attention of Americans and Ghanaians alike. When President Eisenhower learned of the incident, he was deeply troubled. He understood the potential damage this could do to America's image abroad, particularly in African countries like Ghana that were starting to navigate their new independence. Eisenhower had long been aware of the negative impact that segregation and racism had on the United States' reputation, especially during the Cold War, when the country was trying to influence non-aligned nations in Africa and Asia. Eisenhower knew that if he didn't act quickly, the incident could harm US-Ghana relations and create a diplomatic crisis. Gbedemah was a respected figure in Ghana and was well known internationally. His story of being humiliated simply for his skin color would resonate with people who were already skeptical about the United States' claim of being a free country. The president decided to invite Gbedemah to the White House for a formal apology. This was an unusual move, as presidents rarely made personal apologies for incidents that occurred outside federal government actions. However, Eisenhower understood that this was a unique case and it required a significant gesture to show that the United States regretted the incident and was committed to improving race relations. Gbedemah received the invitation and accepted. He knew that a public apology from the President of the United States would make a powerful statement, not just to him, but to the world. When he arrived at the White House, Eisenhower greeted him warmly, expressing regret for the incident in Delaware. Eisenhower told Gbedemah that he was genuinely sorry for the humiliation he had experienced and assured him that such treatment was not acceptable. In their conversation, Eisenhower acknowledged the struggles that African Americans and people of African descent faced in the United States. He admitted that America still had a long way to go to live up to its ideals of equality and freedom. For Gbedemah, the apology was meaningful. It wasn't just about his personal dignity, It was about representing Ghana and making a stand against discrimination. This meeting between the two leaders sent a powerful message. Photographs and reports of Eisenhower's apology spread in newspapers across the world, showing the president sitting side by side with Gbedemah, a Ghanaian leader who had been wronged in the United States. This image of unity and respect was a stark contrast to the reality of racial discrimination that was still prevalent in many parts of America. Eisenhower's apology had a significant impact both domestically and internationally. On one hand, it highlighted the struggle within the United States to deal with its racial issues, especially as it sought to gain favor with African nations during the Cold War. On the other hand, it sent a message to African Americans that even the president recognized the need for change and was willing to take steps, however small, to address discrimination. The incident also brought attention to the issue of racial discrimination in the United States and made Americans more aware of how these issues impacted international relations. Many Americans began to realize that their country's treatment of Black people wasn't just a domestic issue, it was a matter of global importance. For Gbedemah in Ghana, the apology was a victory in diplomacy and respect. It showed that even though Ghana was a new country, it had a vice that demanded respect on the world stage. Ghanaian newspapers reported on the incident, and the people of Ghana saw this as a moment of pride. Their finance minister had stood up to discrimination, and even the president of the United States had recognized Ghana's dignity and apologized for the insults. While the apology didn't end racial discrimination in the United States, it marked a significant step in the ongoing fight for equality. President Eisenhower's gesture underscored the importance of diplomacy and respect between nations, especially in the context of civil rights. It was a reminder that the United States had to live up to its ideals if it wanted to be a true leader in the world. In the years that followed, the civil rights movement in America gained momentum, partly fueled by the pressure that incidents like Gbedemah's encounter put on the American government to make real changes. This period was marked by a growing awareness of racial issues and a commitment, albeit gradual, to addressing them. For Ghana, this episode strengthened its resolve to be a symbol of freedom and equality. Gbedemah's experience in the United States became part of the broader story of Ghana's journey, symbolizing both the struggles and triumphs of a new African nation. His dignified response to discrimination inspired Ghanaians to continue their path toward growth and independence with pride. The story of President Eisenhower's apology to Gbedemah is a reminder of the importance of respect and dignity in international relations.